Good evening, everyone. Today is January 21. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Calimesa City Council. I see that we have some speaker forms here. You're welcome to speak on an item, on items that are not on the agenda, and also on the consent calendar. Oh, okay. I usually have a loud voice. Is that any better? Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So at this point, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Darlene, would you like to do the roll call?
Councilmember Cundiff.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Manley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cervantes.
Here.
Mayor Molina.
Yes, thank you. And let the record reflect that our city manager, Will Cobo, is here. Our assistant city attorney Stephen Flowers here. City clerk Gerdes. Finance director Reed. Planning director Lucia. Interim public works director Shakir. I couldn't see her. City engineer Thornton is not here.
He's not here yet.
And Fire Chief O'Connell and Sheriff Captain Northrup. Welcome, everybody. So I'd like to ask longtime resident of Calimesa and businessman in Calimesa, Bill Thomas, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Oh, you're over here. They moved us, sorry. Okay, we have several speaker slips here. Let's see if there are any. Okay, let's start with Bill Thomas. Come on up. Just speak your name clearly into the mic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bill Thomas. I'm a 43-year resident of Calimesa. I've been here before talking to you guys. I just wanted to welcome the new city council members and introduce myself. The reason for my visit this evening is to discuss a recent piece in our local newspaper from Linda Molina about her vision for the city. And I think I want to be careful, make sure my words are accurate and truthful, because I don't want to offend anyone, obviously. Linda's a good friend, and I don't want to hurt myself and the community, but at the same time I need to speak up when I see something. In this instance, the vision that Linda had articulated for the city, I would have good confidence to say that a majority of the residents don't share that vision. And let me explain. Okay, we have a lot of good plans in the city, specifically the Oak Valley specific plan, and that particular plan has zoning in it, and you have to look at it as at build out. The way Linda was talking in her vision is as though we have a economic development situation in Calimesa, and that's actually not the truth. It's more like a situation where it's blue sky in Calimesa, because we have the Oak Valley specific plan. At build out, there's so much potential for retail, and I'm not sure if you understand how retail works, but the retailers have criteria, and Calimesa checks all the boxes. It's not like we're having to look for new retailers here. They're already chomping at the bit. I wish I had more time to discuss with you on this, because I have a background in the commercial real estate. And I can tell you, in 1998, I was meeting with the retailers, and I'm a little out of breath, I'm sorry, I was meeting with the retailers and with the principals of Oak Valley. And all of those guys had everyone in place already that want to be here in Calimesa. So it's not like we have to put billboards. The opposite, there's view corridors, there's open space. We don't have to do anything but just do the plan. We have to implement Oak Valley specific plan as it is without changing anything. So if there's a vision, it would be to preserve that plan, not to change it. So that's the only point I want to make. I want to discuss this in more detail. 3 minutes is really a hard time to do it in this format, but I think I'm making my point clear. The retailers are coming. We don't have to do anything. Just keep the plan. We're not redeveloping anything. Just keep the plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Tony Phillips.
Well, good evening. This is just a quick information for the city because it directly affects the intersection where my office is located at 504 Myrtlewood Drive, Trifocus Wealth Management Service. The fire hydrant on July 12th was knocked off due to an auto accident at the corner of 5th and Myrtlewood. That fire hydrant was left at the curb and was subsequently stolen. And now what is there is an orange pylon since that date. And with the fires that we've had seen occur in the local areas around us, I think it should be a concern for the city that that fire hydrant hasn't been replaced yet. I feel like 6 months down the road, it should have been addressed. I know that at one point or another, lines were drawn in the street because for whatever reason, the Southwest Water, is it Southwest Water?
South Mesa.
South Mesa.
Yeah, it's South Mesa Water, said that they had to go all the way to the main line and replace the main line to the fire hydrant instead of just putting a fire hydrant on where it was knocked off. So just allow me the moment just to make the city aware that that hasn't been replaced yet, and maybe the city can push to get that done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I can get in contact with Dave Armstrong
Okay,
on that.
thank you. Okay, Tom Donahoe or Donahue? Donahue, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Molina, City Council, staff, and to the residents of Calimesa. My name is Tom Donahue. I'm the Program Administrator for Family Service Association, and we're proud for probably over 20 years to be one of your vendors in providing service to your senior center. I work with Summer Wells, who runs the day-to-day operations of the community center. My program is the lunch program. And as you know, or may have heard, that there is going to be some changes to the lunch program as it currently is in place. We currently have a grab-and-go meal program that was started during the COVID emergency, where we're serving on average about 120 people each week. About half of those are residents of the Calimesa area, the rest are in the immediate area. And it is a program that once the COVID emergency was over, the governor says we need to go back to business as usual for senior nutrition programs throughout the state. This was directed by the California Department on Aging. But my purpose here really today is to say thank you. And thank you in a very meaningful way, because we get a budget each year from the Office on Aging with Riverside County. It's a 4-year contract that we receive. And coming out of COVID, we operated in San Bernardino County as well as in Riverside County. And we received our funding first from San Bernardino County, and it was, even with the drop down of a lot of the COVID funds, we still were funded to the full needs of our program. But in Riverside County, we were supposed to have the contract completed in May, and at the end of July, we received our funding, and it was a 30% cut to our program, which means we had to make some very dramatic changes to our program. And one of the changes that we felt we had to do, and not that we wanted to do, but we needed to do, was to go back to the hot meal program. We had several meetings with the city manager and assistant city manager on this, and what we tried to do was to keep the program going for 6 months while we looked for other funding sources within the state as well as within the county of Riverside. We did receive a mid-year supplemental funding, which comes to us when the federal budget cycle ends. We take what's left over from the prior year and it's redistributed throughout the state. While we had enough money to maintain our program for where at the current level we weren't able to go back to the grab-and-go meal concept. I wanted to make sure you, as the representatives for your citizens, had an idea of, well, what is the hot meal program going to look like? So I brought our February menu for you to take a look at. We're going to be meeting with the staff and our volunteers, who are half our workforce, this Thursday, to review with them what will happen in that first full week of February. But I wanted to make sure that you know that your city manager and assistant manager fight very hard for you and to keep the program as the way you, as the elected representatives of your community, wanted to keep it, which is a grab and go. But unfortunately, at this time, we're making this change and do not see it changing in the near future. I'd be happy to set up time at another point to meet with anybody that's interested in our program, how it works, how it's funded, and we would hope to see you here when we start the program out in early February, so you can see kind of how we do operate the program. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have of me at this time. I don't know if you can during public comment.
No,
I'm
but
hap-
I thank you for coming, and we have had a great relationship with you for many years. Thank
Great.
you. Appreciate
Well,
your
and
comments.
thank you very, very much.
And thank you for your card, too.
It's our pleasure.
Howard Reeves.
My name is Howard Reeves. I live at 1017 Douglas Street, Calamasa. Mayor, council members, city staff, welcome. First of all, I want to say I'm really excited about this new council we have. People on there that are younger than me. They probably won't understand what I'm saying, but they're younger than me, okay? Jeff, you and John, I served with on the Park, Rec, and Community Service Commission in the past, so you're familiar with me. Linda Molino, I've worked with you ever since you become involved in city government. Eric here, him and my son raised hell in town when they were growing up, so he knows me. And all you people four people know that my passion is for the citizens of this community to have what we should have had, we haven't had for 34 years, okay? Now, I gave a handout to all you people, and I'd like to have you turn your attention to that handout and look at all the things that's on there. And I want you to ask yourself, all those items that are on there, who does those? All those items are thought about, brain thrust, put together, organized, purchases things, get it set up, get it running, get the help there. All that's done by your in-house city staff and your outside city staff. And I've been around this city for 34 years, and I still haven't seen on any of these city staff titles, Park and Recreation Director. And all these items fall under Park and Recreation Services. And we don't have that department to take care of it, but somehow all these staff members in-house and outside the house are doing this stuff. Well, how do they do this when they already hired for their regular city jobs? So I encourage all you guys to take a look at this and figure out how we're going to solve this problem that hasn't been solved in 34 years. And I've been before every city council complaining about the same thing. What are we doing about recreation for the youth and the adults in Calamasa? We all have to go across the county line if we want to have any recreation. But we've been a city for 34 years. It doesn't make sense to me. So I have here in my hand on the commission, it says Park and Rec, Trails, and Community Service. The trail was last worked on in 2007. I have a copy of it. And it hasn't been done since. And I know we're running developments. And I'm not talking about trails for horses, basically, bicycles, strollers, walking. 2007, how many years is that since we've even addressed that as a city? So there's things we need to look at to help the service the citizens of our community that we're not doing. And hopefully with this young and energetic city council, we can put our brain thrust together and get the city manager, I'm sorry, he lives in Eastville. He probably won't be able to help us.
Well, thank you, Howard, for your gentle nudge. We're hearing you.
Gentle nudge.
Gentle nudge.
I told you I'd wait till January.
I know, you did.
Thank you guys for your
Thank
time.
you, thank you so much. Okay, we have no more speaker comments. Our next item is approval of the agenda, consent calendar, and waiver of full reading of ordinances. But before we move on to that, our city manager has something to say.
Yes, on item 1, we have distributed revised copies of the minutes. So when you go to consider the consent calendar, you'll be considering the items that are before you on the dais for those corrected minutes. So unless there's any questions on those, it won't be necessary to pull them from the consent calendar.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
My
Any-
understanding was the changes were just typos and things of that nature.
Yeah, there was one that was a little more substantive, but just to make sure the record was accurate, so we made the correction now.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the audience? Okay, so I'll look for an approval of the agenda and consent calendar waiver of full ordinances with the corrections mentioned.
I move to approve the agenda and consent calendar with the corrections mentioned.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? No, passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, so items 1 through 8 were approved. Okay, next is the Calamasa Chamber of Commerce report. Tony, Lion Tony.
Just going to change my hat.
Yes.
So thank you for the opportunity to share what's happening with our Calamasa Chamber. As you know, our January breakfast was last week. It featured representatives from Supervisor Gutierrez's office. They talked about workforce and other programs that are taking place in the county, like the Hire 5 county program. I want to thank council members Molina, Condiff, and City Manager Coble for attending. It's always nice to see you guys at our breakfast. The February breakfast is February 11th. Again, at 7:30 in the morning. It's the meet and greet time. Starts at 8. Our guest speaker will be life coach Megan Bunnell. So that should be very, very informative. It will be at the Cafe Royale, again, February 11th. The chamber is currently seeking new board members. If you are an individual that would like to inquire about being a board member in our chamber, you have to be a current member of the Calamasa Chamber, and you need to commit to 2 years term. And if you want more information on that, you can contact Donna at the chamber office. And then, of course, talking about new board members and membership, the Installation and Community Awards Dinner is scheduled for January 30th at 6 p.m. at the Plantation on the Lakes. We'll have our 2024 award winners, who are Small Business Award winner is Ducking Clean Business. The Corporate Business Award winner is the Plantation on the Lakes. And then the Citizens of the Year are Cindy Pierce, Jay Pierce, and Wendy Olson from Twin Graphics. So we want to just celebrate their achievements, and tickets are available at the Chamber's website. We also are having our Night at the Races scholarship fundraiser on March 15th at the Plantation of the Lakes. If you've never attended that, that's video horse racing, and you win prizes. And if you need a trick to how you win every race, come see me. But there will be video horse racing, food, refreshments, and of course the prizes. Tickets are available at the chamber website, and all proceeds from the event go to the scholarship foundation, the scholarship program, which is now being run by the Calamasa Chamber Foundation. We had currently 2 new members join the chamber this month, and we had 7 member renewals. We have a total membership at this time at 135. Any questions for the chamber?
If no one else does, I have just one question. Do you have to be a resident of Calamasa to be on the board for your chamber?
No, I'm not a resident of Calamasa.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You just have to be a chamber member.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, all 6 of you, 7 of you can join our board. You're more than welcome.
I would think there's a conflict. A little one. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So, but I appreciate I personally appreciate the relationship that the city of Calamasa has, the staff, and with the chamber. When I first joined the chamber 10 years ago now, and became a board member, there was a little bit of a flux between the city of Calamasa and the Chamber of Commerce. And I really believe that we have come to a great relationship. We've worked together on many projects. The parade is one. We were talking about that in the board meeting this morning, that a lot of people think that the parade is done strictly by the city of Calamasa, and that's because of all your involvement with that. So it's greatly appreciated in the partnership we have. So with that said, it is a great honor working with you guys.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I can go take care of, dinner.
Okay, it's now Sheriff Captain report. Captain Northrup.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. I'm going to cover some Part 1 crimes for the month of December. For those new to Council, Part 1 crimes are generally crimes that involve circumstances that pose a clearly defined threat to human life or property. Crimes include homicide, forcible rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, vehicle theft, and larceny. If I don't read one of those categories, it's because we didn't have any reported crimes for the month of December. December, we had 2 assaults, 3 burglaries, 4 vehicle thefts, 12 larcenies, and a total of 21 Part 1 crimes. Year-to-date totals, we had 266 Part 1 crimes. For the month of December, we had 501 calls for service in the city of Calamasa. And then I just want to cover something real quick regarding thefts. So on December 19th in the early morning hours, deputies responded to the Summerwinds neighborhood regarding vehicle burglaries or thefts from vehicles. Deputies arrived and saw one male subject seated in a vehicle, and another subject was standing outside the vehicle. When these guys saw the deputies, one of the gentlemen fled, or suspects fled on foot. Perimeter was established. We called some additional resources in from neighboring jurisdictions or stations to include a drone. We searched for the area, but we did not find that subject. The other subject that was seated in the vehicle ultimately was arrested for possession of stolen property as well as some drugs and drug paraphernalia, and he was booked. Ultimately, we identified 3 victims of theft. Turned out that all the thefts were from unlocked vehicles. So I want to take a minute just to remind citizens to lock their vehicles, especially at night when they're going to be away from the vehicle, and you have the darkness that can conceal suspects' movements. We'll just cover some stats related to traffic collisions. So in the month of December, we had 15 total citations, 9 parking citations, 0 DUI arrests, 7 non-injury or property damage only traffic collisions, 1 injury collision, and no fatal collisions and no hit and runs reported. That's it for the stats. Does anybody have any questions?
Actually, I do.
Yes.
How are we doing with catalytic converter thefts? Are those non-existent anymore here in Calamasa?
I haven't seen any. I know they've kind of trended away from catalytic converter thefts. What we are seeing regularly and routinely over the last 6 months or so is thefts of like utility trailers, not the big semi-trailers, but the smaller dump trailers and those type of things. We are regularly seeing those. So if residents can lock those trailers up, get them behind gates, those type of things, would be
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Just one other thing. You might have heard that on Wednesday, January 8th, JVS Motor Deputy Corlew was involved in a tragic on-duty motorcycle accident and lost his life. His services will be on Thursday, January 23rd at 10 a.m. at the Harvest Church at 6115 Arlington Avenue in Riverside for those that would like to attend.
Chief, can you give me his name again?
Deputy Corlew, Timothy Corlew,
Okay.
last name is Corlew. He was a motor deputy at Grupa Valley Station, generally patrolling the city of Norco.
Thank you.
And then lastly, I'd just like to introduce Lieutenant Mark Wallace. Mark came to us from San Jacinto. He took the place of Ian, who went to the training center. Mark came to us in December. So Mark, you want to come on up?
Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Mark Wallace, Lieutenant with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. I've been with the department for about 20 years now. Started as a brand new deputy out at our Indio jail. And after about a year was transferred to our Hemet station and our San Jacinto station, where I did the bulk of my patrol experience. In 2013, I became a handler, canine handler for the Sheriff's Department, which was probably the funnest assignment that I've had. And today, ironically, is the 10-year anniversary from when my first canine, Sultan, was shot and killed in the line of duty, apprehending a violent felon. And obviously that was a very tragic experience. However, I gained a lot of respect for the community and how they came out and showed their love and support. And I gained a valuable insight on how community and law enforcement work together to support each other and to solve a lot of problems. So after that, in 2018, I was promoted to sergeant, came up to the jail here, and then went back to Hemet and San Jacinto, and then ultimately got promoted to lieutenant in last month. So I'm excited to be here. I look forward to getting to know and meeting each one of you individually and also members of the community.
No longer a canine officer?
No, as soon as I got promoted to sergeant, I had to let that go, unfortunately. So,
Councilman Kender, do you have a question for the chief?
No,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Welcome.
thank you.
You might want to come around and shake our hands so we
absolutely.
know you personally. We thank you for your service.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Welcome. We will end tonight's meeting with a moment of silence for Deputy Corlew. Thank you. Okay, Chief O'Connell, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to step out on a limb, and I'm going to pitch for the Rotary Club for just a second. On behalf of the Yucaipa Calamasa Rotary Club, I wanted to speak really quick about the Hometown Heroes Banner Program. Myself and Michelle Riggs from the Crafton Hills Community College District co-chair that program. We are looking at our Hometown Heroes banner. Those banners reflect active duty military, and it gives the families in the community a chance to recognize their active duty folks, as well as some of the Gold Star. There's a Gold Star opportunity. But I wanted to pitch that, make that aware, and we can speak offline regarding gaining support. We currently have 6 slots for the city of Calamasa. 2 of them are unoccupied. reviewing those banners as as we speak. Going to replace those and be looking for input and some feedback. Tony left too early, but to try to see if we want to supplement, bolster that program, or make sure that folks know that's available. So I wanted to share that with you first off.
Well, I'll make sure to bring that up at the next Lions meeting.
And please reach out to me offline
I
if there's
will.
any questions. But I wanted to make that available.
Thank you.
Switching gears, City Manager Coble spoke with me over the last week regarding a resident's concern. Specifically, there's a gentleman living on the 900 block of Stearns. And I'll just read to you the comment. As a resident, I need to know what is being done to prevent wildfires here in the city of Calamasa. And I'll just open with that, getting into my report tonight. We're in January. Today's a red flag day. We've seen, as everybody's seen, significant fire activity that is unusual for the month of January. The significant incidents in the city of Los Angeles. And I'll come back around to that because I want to answer the gentleman's question on Stearns. So what we've done over the last 7 years, specifically, we've replaced apparatus to include our Type 1 structural firefighting engines. We've replaced those. We meet NFPA recommendations, standards, as well as meeting the tenets of the ISO, Insurance Services Organization, the insurance underwriters. We're well engaged with state foresters, the state forestry and fire protection, the fire marshal's office, maintaining, updating codes. I personally liaison with planning and engineering regularly, review the general plans, the specific plans. Specifically, we dive into into fuel modification programs in new developments. We adhere to that. I work with Public Works regularly to make sure that those maintenance issues are addressed. They do a wonderful job. All of the departments do a wonderful job. I've never worked with such collaboration before in any of my jobs in 42 years of public service. We step aside from that. Public Works regularly addresses our counterparts along the freeway corridor system. We maintain and we do fuel management along the travel corridors such as the I-10. Again, coordinate that with Caltrans. The city public works staff is phenomenal at upgrading, maintaining, and doing fuel removal along the Calamasa Boulevard corridor, along with some of the other city-owned properties. That comes first. Getting back to the fire department itself, when the fire department formed, we were looking and concentrating on all the shiny, cool stuff, the fire engines, the apparatus, the equipment, the personnel, and we saw the need to establish a community risk reduction program. Historically, what that looks like is a fire prevention program. Most fire departments historically called it a fire prevention bureau. So we took a step after I took tenure in the beginning appointment of realigning, reorganizing, establishing a community risk reduction approach, a holistic approach to how we engage in fire prevention. We regularly, biannually, I work with the assistant city manager. We've transitioned programs for weed abatement. We take weed abatement on head on twice a year, and then with annual inspections, biannual inspections, and then we do complaint-based enforcement. And what that looks like is if you drive by and you see it, we respect the 4th and the 14th Amendments. If we see it, we say something, we have the ability to address those issues. We work with our counterparts with our Sheriff's Department and with Deputy Henkel. We address those social transient type of issues. We look at how to deal with the blight. Again, going back with code enforcement and public works, we actively pursue those types of social issues in a community risk reduction approach. and we tie that back into into some of the focus on what some of you and at least 3 of you, if not more, recognize as the broken windows concept of community protection, or some of the law enforcement approach to the broken windows concept of dealing with social blight. So we take that on headlong. We reassigned one of our suppression staff. Deputy Fire Marshal Jerry Rodriguez stepped out of suppression. He heads the Community Risk Reduction Bureau. He's actively engaged in overseeing those programs that I've discussed already, and he obtained the education training and has the experience to go out and identify a community risk assessment as we continue to grow as a city. We take that community risk assessment. We've developed a local hazard mitigation plan that was submitted through FEMA with several check boxes, several metrics, and we tie that back into the emergency operations plan and the general and specific development plans as a 360-degree local hazard-based reduction system. On the operations side, we continually look and seek out council's insight and approval for the prevention, for the suppression, and for the acquisition of updated training and equipment. We address that annually. We just had a public safety workshop where some of this was discussed in detail and the steps that we take going forward to provide that local control fire protection for the city of Calimesa. And I could go on and on, but we are actively engaged. We actively seek input. We try to recruit the best of those that want to come to work for the city with that training experience and the background to identify those hazardous conditions. Personally, I look to collaborate, and we've rebuilt relationships with the city of Yucaipa. I am headstrong into attempting to do the same thing with the county of Riverside, with our partners to the east of us, I think the south, the city of Beaumont, and we look to strengthen those relationships. Specifically, lately, the question's been asked, what did we send to the city of Los Angeles? How did we help? And I'm going to be honest, it was a very tough decision. We did not deploy units to the city of Los Angeles. We were at a drawdown status with, our staffing numbers, and we did not have the ability. We had some folks out out with some illnesses, with some family leave, committed to training for the city, and we were at a drawdown status, and we metered out how do we protect our city. And I'll say directly, last Sunday night, I had a quick text conversation with the city manager. We end up recalling all of our staff. We put butts in seats, recalled the folks. We covered 3 pieces of apparatus and maintained that in the city through the power outages, the unheard of public safety outages, and we staffed our city through that first wind event. We're continually monitoring the weather, those systems, and we've upheld staffing. Your overtime budget for me has taken a hit, but we've got folks on and we're ready to respond. And the trigger point for that was when we looked at the drawdown of local resources and we had out-of-state resources. City Manager Colbaugh and I took a look, and it's like we need to be able to protect our city. So specifically, those are the steps that we're taking to stop wildfires and then to be able to respond to them as they come. And I hope I didn't gloss over it. I hope I answered the gentleman's question, and I'll certainly open it up to council for any of your questions.
Yeah, actually, thank you, Chief, for that report. As far as residents within the city that want to mitigate combustibles or fuel around their home, is there something online or some information that you guys can provide to residents so they can, because insurance it's going to be a big problem.
It is, and Councilmember Cundiff hits the nail on the head. We've talked about a little bit regarding the high fire hazard severity zones and the very high fire hazard severity zones. And depending on where your outlook is towards some of the data, some of the science, I think things spoke for themselves since the beginning of January. Here we are in January when we should be enjoying wet weather, and here we are chasing red flags and fighting extremely crazy vegetation fires. So to answer your question directly, yes. On our website, there's several fire prevention tips. You can go to the state office of the state fire marshal's website, as well as the United States Forest Service website, and Google things like home hardening, home defense, home wildfire defense. Put those in. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to pretend, I cannot, I can't tell you the exact website to plug in. There are websites where you can go to those specific, answer those specific questions. Home hardening, home defense, wildfire defense. The 0 to 100 program, where you 0 to 5 feet from the house, and then 0 to 30 feet, and then 30 feet to 100 foot fuels reduction, and there's guidelines that you can check online. I hope I answered your question.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for addressing all those issues. I mean, with everything that's going on in LA, we know that you've sent staff to previous fires, and I think I heard that at Noble Creek they reopened the staging area for out-of-state fire companies. So I don't know if it's still open, but that's also a good resource to know about.
It is, and I didn't want to take up all the time tonight and extend the meeting. I'm in constant contact with the other fire chiefs in the Riverside County operational area. There's a text group. We're in contact with the Riverside Parish Command Center, with South Operations of the CAL FIRE United States Forest Service for monitoring apparatus and equipment and our ability to respond to the larger incidents. We have people plugged in, but I'm going to tell you as a chief, it was really difficult. Protecting home comes first, and making sure that we can respond, and hit it heavy, keep things under 3 acres, keep the fires small, and then still add value to what our neighbors are doing. Try to be a good neighbor.
We appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to our next item, which is public hearing. Item number 9, public hearing, request to continue item, proposed ordinance to update participation in the TUMF program, resolution adopting a TUMF schedule. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this item before we take the next action? Anyone from the public? Okay, right, I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Just real quick on this item, I just wanted to share that we just need a little more time to review the draft ordinance. So this is an ordinance that all of the member agencies of WRCOG approve for the TUMF program. They recently completed their next study, so the next step is to adopt the ordinance to implement the updated fee schedule that they've passed along. So again, it's a required component of being a part of the TUMF program, and so we just want to make sure we have that reviewed properly. So we're requesting that the hearing be continued to February 3rd.
Great, thank you for that. So with that, I'd like a motion to approve continuing this public hearing item to the meeting of February 3rd. I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I'll move to continue the item till February 3rd.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's 5, none opposed? Thank you, that's 5-0. Thank you so much. Okay, business items. Item number 10, City Commission appointments. I'm so pleased that we tonight are going to recognize 2 citizens who have stepped forward to be commissioners, one on the Library Commission and one on the Planning Commission. So I guess it's just, do we invite them up to speak? Do we just do the resolution to approve them, to ratify the
Well, it would be
application?
appropriate for you to make your appointment to the Library Commission, and then we would need to adopt that resolution ratifying your appointment. And
Okay.
then after that, then Mr. Garcia would make his appointment to
Okay.
planning, and again, we would have to
Ratification.
ratify that resolution with a motion.
Okay, great. So I would like to appoint a member to the Library Commission, and that the City Council ratify the appointment by majority vote and adopt resolution number 2025-03, providing for appointment made, and that is for Julie Saba.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
it would maybe be appropriate to ask if there's any public comment on this item before
Oh,
continuing.
okay.
And just to clarify whether or not it's
Yes.
going to be public comment on both nominations or one at a time.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on either application tonight? Public council member?
I don't have any speaker.
Okay. If you'd like to, you're welcome to speak so now. If not, okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve Julie Saba as to the Library Commission. That's resolution number 2025-03. If I could get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, 5-0. Thank you. Congratulations, Julie. Would you like to, well, we'll give you an opportunity to speak later. Okay, so we have another applicant for Planning Commission, and we would like to,
Madam Mayor?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Since this is Councilmember Garcia's, I think that he should be,
Okay.
he can do that.
okay.
Before I want to appoint Lisa Sino, I do want to say that I wanted to say that I heard my colleagues from our last meeting, and I spoke with David as well too. So I want to be moving forward to appoint Lisa Sino for my planning commission.
Can you pronounce his last name for me? Enciso?
And Cecil.
All right, did it right. Okay. Okay, so we'll appoint a member to the Planning Commission, and ask that the City Council ratify the appointment by majority vote and adopt resolution number 2025-04. If I could have a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
I second that.
Was that Eric and Edgar? Did I hear correctly?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you very much. Okay, so I would like you both to come up, and I'll administer the oath of office, and meet me up at the podium. Okay. Face you. Okay, I'll try to do this as painless as possible. If you could raise your right hand. And just affirm your name when I ask. I do solemnly swear or affirm. Repeat after me, sorry.
I do solemnly swear and affirm
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith
shall bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon
Congratulations. Thank you. Let's give them a hand, everybody. Thank you. So if you'd like to go here and meet everyone, I get to thank you in person.
Welcome aboard.
And so I believe the commission meeting start in February, darling? Okay, so we'll be looking forward to getting our new commissioners in place. Thank you very much. Appreciate your service. Thank you so much. proud moment. Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're at mayor and council member reporting of county and regional meetings and conferences. So we'll start with Eric and work our way to Edgar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few things that I was involved in or had gone to that I wanted to let the council know and the general public. On January 11th, that was Saturday at 9 a.m., went to the grand opening of Happy Mediums. You were there as well. Fantastic little new business that opened up in our city, and want to make sure that the public knows about that. January 13th, Monday, we had the Riverside Division of the Cal Cities event hosted by the City of Desert Hot Springs, and a representative from the Insurance Commissioner's Office, Ricardo Lara, talked about California's sustainable insurance strategy, tips for finding residential insurance, tips for wildfire claims, and they provided a phone number for individuals having trouble with insurance. And that number is 800-927-4357. And I did bring some handouts if people want to come up and look at that, or you guys want to pass those around, you're more than welcome to do so. Just some informative information that they wanted to pass on to us. January the 14th, Tuesday, attended the Calamasa Chambers breakfast that Tony alluded to earlier. And I just want to echo what he said, that getting involved in the chamber was a wonderful thing for me to be able to do, to be with some of the business owners and hear some of the things, ideas that they have. So that was a great outreach of sorts with them. And that same day, because of that meeting, I toured the Noble Creek MOB Center that the chief and you were talking about earlier. And so to try to help put our residents' mind at ease, they are staffed. This is a photo of that facility. They have got an immense amount of fire engines and firefighters from all over that were staging just to go out to fight those LA fires. And that was Mr. Valdivia took me on that tour around there to see that facility. It was very impressive. And the most important thing for our citizens to remember is it's right over the hill. It's so close to us. And so even though we've got a fantastic fire department and staff that can handle these kind of things, in the event that we needed more, it's right over the mountain. And that was kind of a nice peace of mind to be able to pass on. And then, of course, on Friday, the 17th, which you and I attended as well, the South Mesa Water Company ribbon cutting celebration. And I won't go too far into that because I know you have some comments about that. But that was another great outreach of sorts to be able to get out and talk with different folks and South Mesa water people and understand that they're looking to really help our city in any way they can. So that's all I have to report this time.
Thank you. John.
I did not attend any regional meetings, so that will conclude my report.
Thank you. Jeff.
I also didn't attend any regional meetings. I anticipate those meetings that I was attending, RCA and others, and WRCOG will resume in February, so I'll have a report then. But that also concludes my report.
Thank you. And Edgar?
I have not attended any meetings as well too, so this will conduct my report as well too.
Thank you, Edgar. I have quite a few, sorry, but all very informative. On the 17th of December, I think that's the right date, Councilman Cundiff and I attended the Yucaipa Valley Water Board meeting. We really don't have updates from the our water partners, which is Yucaipa Valley Water, which is mostly sewer, and then South Mesa Water, our water company in town. But they are going to be coming to our meetings on a fairly regular basis, maybe quarterly, so we will be looking for information on water because water is such a big deal. Attended on the 19th of December RTA Executive Committee and Board meeting. They were just routine items. On December 12th, that RCTC budget and implementation meeting was canceled. Attended a Cal Cities Riverside Division Executive Committee meeting, and that was just mainly a planning meeting. There's no SCAG meetings in January. On the 8th of January, attended RCTC meeting, and I've provided a copy of that, a summary of that meeting They're quite lengthy, and that information is available to the public if you'd like to get that information. I provided a summary to the council members here, but anyone is welcome to anything that we discuss. You're welcome to inquire about and get a copy of. Also attended on January 8th RTA Budget and Finance Committee meeting. The Metrolink meeting was canceled. I forgot to, I was appointed to the Metrolink committee. Even though we don't have Metrolink close by, we'll still be getting the information. I'll be bringing it to you. A lot of people like to connect either through San Bernardino, our regional hub, or even the new Aero subway system will get you to the hub, and that'll get you to the Metrolink stations and outwards. If you haven't done that, you really should look into that. On the 11th, again, we attended the Happy Mediums family-owned cafe. They serve breakfast and lunch. It's a unique menu. You should all try it. It's really great. They're located in the Crown Village Mall, right next to, or right in the space that the bread company used to be part of. They're now at a larger site there. So you have to check it out. It's really good. Also, Will and I will have been attending, you're all familiar with the outages here, the power outages that we have no control over, but we've been attending Zoom meetings and getting information about them, but really it's just listening to everybody complain. You know, they're very unfortunate for people. I was lucky I only had one day that I didn't have power, but several of us have had many days of outages, and we apologize for that. I know that's a great impact on families. And our Edison representative, her name is Eileen Flores. She usually comes to our meetings. She's a very good representative of our city. I believe she has 10 cities or 11 cities that she represents. But she's very busy right now with putting out briefings for other electeds about the fires, as well as the things that Edison is doing to prevent fires. Attended the Desert Hot Springs meeting with Eric. They have dinner meetings every other month, scattered throughout Riverside County, and so you're all welcome to attend. They're dinner meetings, but you get to meet city representatives, city councils from all over Riverside. They share a lot of information. The chamber breakfast we attended was very good, with youth programs from Supervisor Gutierrez. And the ribbon cutting, I just wanted to take a moment to share with you. South Mesa Water, they really don't come to our meetings either, but they are going to be doing that on a regular basis because they're doing great things that we don't know anything about. For instance, South Mesa received a grant for $10.2 million, which is going to improve our infrastructure. It's allowing us to collaborate. The funding was also for collaboration with our partners, which is San Gorgonio Water, San Bernardino Water District, Yucaipa Valley Water, and also the state. It gives us access. This funding gives us access to state water. South Mesa was happy to provide water to Hillcrest Mobile Home Park, which is on Calimesa Boulevard, just down past county line to the right. They had very severe water issues, and so those people now have good drinking water that we're all expected to have. And then just wanted to share that on the 25th of this month, the annual Vet Expo and Job Fair is going on in Beaumont at the Chatney Senior Center. The local Lions Club here participates. We usually provide breakfast there. And on the 29th through the 31st of this month, it's a busy month, Cal Cities is providing training for council members and mayors. They used to call it new council members. I don't know why they dropped the new, but it's training nonetheless. And it's local, it's in Garden Grove, so it's a great time to take advantage of that. And then Tony mentioned the installation of officers. So while several of us are going to the training, we're going to come back and attend the chamber. So that's another thing we should all support. So that's all that I have. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. I'll turn it over to Will for his comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to report on a couple of things. The city is working with Southern California Gas as coordinated through the Inland Regional Energy Network, or IREN, program to receive free of charge the equipping and installation of tankless water heaters for the fire department and the senior center. So these are gas tankless heaters that are replacing gas water heater tanks, one of which was in need of replacement anyway. The tankless water heaters will meet the demands of both facilities for food preparation and living use requirements. And the tankless water heaters are under a 5-year warranty for installation and labor, and for parts, the water heaters themselves are under 5 years warranty, and the installation labor components are under a 1-year warranty. City savings include the cost of the equipment installation and labor of about $4,000 each, for a total of savings of $8,000, and an overall gas efficiency savings of 400 therms, which translates to about $750 in annual cost for the city. This is the first time we've utilized the IREN program for energy upgrades. And obviously with the recent power outages, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, I'm sure there's going to be greater interest in the IREN programs. They have they are, one of their goals is to develop microgrids for public and critical facilities. So the IREN program is a joint effort between the San Bernardino COG, Western Riverside COG, CVAG, which is Coachella Valley Associated Governments, and both the gas company and Edison. And it's something that was mandated by state policy, but it is for the purpose of trying to create programs that create energy resiliency. And I think after all these power outages, I think that that focus has come to the forefront. So that's something that I'm sure will get a lot of interest going forward. Mayor Molina had mentioned the calls with SCE. The first one was held on Sunday, January 12th. There were 2 more held Monday and Wednesday of last week, and there was actually one earlier this evening as well that we weren't able to attend because we're just getting ready for the council meeting. I did an update, this is a little shameless plug too, on the first call. If you follow Calamasa Insider, the podcast, on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, you can see that video, and I gave an update on that. SCE gave us updates on kind of their progress at that point of what was happening with the power outages, but mostly the call was dominated by frustration from lots of public officials, elected officials, city officials. There were a number of problems with their PSPS maps, so if you try to go online to find information, for part of the time their map had gone down and it wasn't functioning properly, so they actually took it offline. There's reference, we get emails saying that this circuit's going to go out. It's very hard to follow what circuit's what. We do have access to some of that information, but it's very difficult to tell. Sometimes, power was shut off before notifications were sent. That was another complaint. Numerous examples of conflicting information. So there was an example of where a notification was sent that power was restored, but it wasn't restored in other areas. They did point out that the shutoffs did prevent over 50 potential fires. So these were where lines that were de-energized did have damage that could have sparked a fire. So that's the reason that you do it. But a lot of the talk was also about infrastructure upgrades. Obviously, those are needed. Those take a lot of time and a lot of money. I think though that the bigger focus, I think immediately, is going to be on communications. Unfortunately, I think that the timing for folks like Eileen Flores, who already had a heavy workload, and the workload just got heavier because I think they did do some layoffs in their public affairs area. And so there was one school board member that said that their has over 100 school districts in his portfolio, which is, you can't manage that. I mean, you're just completely overwhelmed. So there definitely needs to be a lot of time and attention paid to these in the short term on communications, so that we're aware of what's happening. And with things changing constantly, we have to get better real-time information, and those are things that we're calling for. But longer term, obviously, there needs to be ways to be able to segment the system that we can minimize the shutdowns. So I think people were getting frustrated with the fact that their home, there wasn't any wind at their homes, or their power's undergrounded near their home. So why am I being shut off? Well, it's because anywhere between your house and where your power originates on the distribution network, anywhere along that line, if there is wind that met their threshold, boom, it gets shut off, and it gets shut off automatically. But the re-energization has to happen once the lines are inspected, and that's a manual process. And obviously, with hundreds of thousands of customers out, that's going to take a lot of time. So they did bring in outside resources to help with that, but it still took a lot of time and many days. So it's not much, unfortunately. I wish I had better news to report on that, but I think we're going to continue to see this in the foreseeable future on wind events like this, unfortunately. And so, we hope that there's also things that Edison can do in terms of, people, having food spillage and things like that. If, my thought is if there's, if people are off for a certain amount of time, that should trigger a food voucher that they get automatically through their program. Because again, that's a lot cheaper for Edison to absorb that cost than it is to, risk it and have the fire start. So obviously there's other, concerns like medical devices, things like that. Maybe there's, rebate programs they can talk about with people with medical devices to be able to power those with generators during power outages. So there's different things that I think that need to be thought through if this is going to continue to be the norm. And I think that, with the weather we're seeing and, kind of unprecedented times, that could continue. So I think that they need to look at that as well. So those are the things that are being called for. And, contrary to popular belief, city government, we don't have nearly as much power as people think we do. And we can't just demand that Edison turns on the lights. Oh, well, since you said it, we're going to go ahead and do it. It doesn't work that way. They answer to, other authorities higher up than we are. So we can continue to engage with them, and that's our plan, just to continue to let them know, voice our opinions in our collective voice. And, that needs to get the attention of state officials for action to happen. So we're doing that, and we're trying to advocate for our residents and our community. And, unfortunately, we can't force it, and that's where we're at. So with that, I can be happy to answer any questions, but that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, so you could look forward to, in the very near future, regular updates from our insurance committee, the state insurance commissioner, their utilities and the water company, so that we know what's happening and we can get more up-to-date information, because they have indicated that. So keep that in mind. So before we adjourn to the next regular meeting of the City Council on February 3rd at 6 o'clock, can we have a moment of silence? We'll end our meeting tonight on a moment of silence for Deputy Corlew and the fire victims in Los Angeles. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming, and I'd like to thank the staff for everything you've been doing during these crazy outages, and we've been having them here too. So thank you very much for your understanding. Good night.